Hello, this is the American Contractor. Today is May the 12th. Late in the evening, 2017. Now, I've been talking about in past videos about the safe zones in Syria. They're in like 4 different areas, 3, 4, 5 different areas in Syria. And what I said in past videos that there's no teeth in it. Who's going to enforce if anybody violates the safe zone? How are they going to enforce it? Who's going to respond? Well, here's an article that gives a clue. The Russians seeks accord with the United States on Iran role in Syria. Russia is seeking to convince the U.S. to accept an Iranian role in a plan to police safe zones in Syria as a step toward ending the 6-year war. The U.S. and Iran should show compromise and flexibility in helping secure the so-called de-escalation zones proposed by Russia to shore up a Syrian ceasefire. President Vladimir Putin's Middle East envoy Mikhail Bogdanov told reporters in Sochi on Thursday, Bloomberg reported, Russia is trying to mediate between the U.S. and Iran though it is under no illusions about the difficulties, he said. Does anyone think Iran is going to leave this region and Syria if they could wave a magic wand and Iran would disappear? That's not going to happen. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov said after talks with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington on Wednesday that he hoped the U.S. would make an active contribution to securing the safe zones. An active contribution. That's code word, folks, for more troops, more arms, and more warplanes. Lavrov suggested the U.S. may initiate the process in southern Syria near the borders with Israel and Jordan. Russia and Turkey, and Iran signed a memorandum on creating 4 zones at talks, involving the Syrian government and opposition groups in Kazakhstan's capital, Astana, last week. Quote, Russia believes the U.S. should help enforce the ceasefire in Syria, though it would have to gain approval from the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to deploy any troops in the safe zones. Trump's pragmatic approach as a businessman who loves practical results is encouraging Russia to hope that life eventually puts everything in its place to help end the conflict. While the U.S. recognizes the roles played by Russia and Turkey in the Astana peace process, it regards Iran as having an unconstructive role in the region that it can't praise under any circumstances. A compromise that enables U.S. and Iranian forces to help control separate safe zones in Syria requires additional political and diplomatic efforts, and Russia will continue to work. Assad managed to turn this tide of war in his favor after Russia started an air campaign in September 2015, while Iran is an uncompromised supporter of the Syrian leader. Continued fighting between Syrian government forces and militants backed by the U.S. and its allies, including Turkey and Saudi Arabia, stand in the way of political settlement. The conflict has killed estimated 400,000 people. Putin said after talks with Turkish President Erdogan in Sochi last week that he had secured Trump's backing for the plan to establish safe zones. Russia has long urged the U.S. to join forces with it in Syria, but Trump's campaign pledge to cooperate with Putin on defeating the self-styled Islamic State terrorist group has run into resistance from Republicans and Democrats who are pushing for a hard line toward Moscow over its alleged meddling in the U.S. election, support for Assad, and interfere in Ukraine. Now, all you trolls out there that said that I was wrong and everything, this just goes another article here that I am probably on the right track. There's no police force, anything policing type units in Syria for these safe zones. If anybody violates, you got to have somebody in there. It's just get down to the nuts and bolts. You got to have more troops. If somebody violates the safe zone, you got to react. You got to have the arms. You got to have the people. You got to have the drone capability. You got to have the logistics, aircraft. You can't. And the Russians, they're beefing up their forces, but they don't have enough people in Syria, and they're not willing, from what I've been reading, they're not willing to send in a lot more troops. There's 3 countries, right? United States, the Iranians, the Syrians, actually 4, Russians, and they need to, get more forces inside Syria. Russians don't want to do that. They don't want to send in more troops. They're doing force protection on their own bases, and they're not trying to expand outwards in the safe zones. You have in Afrin, I think is northern part of Syria, the Russians deployed a little small military police unit. What are they going to do? They had no drone capability. Look at the pictures. They had no drone capability, light weapons. I mean, they're just not well equipped tactically to do anything, to enforce any safe zone in that area. And they know it. The Russians know it. That's why they're seeking Iran. They want the United States to approve, hey, we're going to put Iranian troops, whatever, IRGC folks from Qasem Soleimani, and that ain't going to happen. We're not going to get involved with that. I hope not anyway. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Let's get this YouTube channel up and running. Apologize for being not doing videos, but had a lot of issues. No internet. I was up in the middle of nowhere, and so I'm back now. Like and subscribe. This is American Contractor, May the 12th, 2017. The Russians asking the United States for the Iranians to help out. Fat chance. Well, we'll see.